Well, hello, Fright Fiends. Today we're looking at the Tales from the Crypt episode, Split Personality, directed by producer on the show, Joel Silver, and what I believe is his one and only directorial effort, and written by Fred Decker, the man known for the classic film Monster Squad. Split Personality takes Vic, a con man who gets a little more than he bargained for when he meets a couple reclusive twins. I'm just glad to see Joe Pesci has finally shaken off that typecasting of being a scumbag. The story begins at the casino as Paulie from the Rocky films bets way more than he can afford. Don't worry though, because Vic, Joe Pesci, overhears the man's predicament and assures him that he will win.
Deal me a two.
Well, Paulie wins and now he can afford his kid's operation. He tries to give some of his winnings to Vic, but Vic's a stand-up guy. He's not about to take anyone's money, especially not when it's meant for their child. Instead though, he has a little proposition for him.
I got an inside line on a no-risk, tax-free, limited partnership investment.
Vic promises he'll be able to double Paulie's money in a couple weeks as long as Paulie writes him a personal check right now and gives Vic his personal info. Instead, Vic just cashes the check and takes the man's money. Also, it looks like the dealer was in on the entire thing with him too. Joe Pesci being a con man at a casino, a young Martin Scorsese takes notes. Vic's tired of conning the little people. He wants to settle down and get out of this godforsaken town. Before he can though, he has a little car trouble after a couple black cats run out in front of his car, causing him to get a flat tire. Now Vic has always had this thing for the number 2, whether it be in gambling or twins.
I always wanted to make it with twins.
With a flat tire, Vic finds himself at a not-so-friendly residence, but he needs some help, so he continues to trudge on.
What the f*** is this piece of shit?
If anyone has ever wondered where this meme came from, it's from Tales from the Crypt. Vic just casually lets himself inside the house, though it appears as though no one is home. This guy looks a lot like producer Richard Donner.
Don't move! Unless you want your brains all over Daddy's picture.
Alright, so there was someone home, and she doesn't seem all that pleased to see Vic. He claims all he wants to do is use the woman's phone, but then suddenly another woman appears. What we have here are twins, and remember what Vic said about twins.
I always wanted to make it with twins.
Vic can't believe himself. He's seeing double. Now I just hope he's prepared for trouble. The ladies April and June aren't accustomed to having visitors in their home, especially not men. They tend to keep to themselves and never leave their home, especially after the mysterious death of their father. However, Vic starts to win the ladies over when he goes on and on about how great their father was, despite only moments ago just seeing him for the very first time.
What a goofy looking f*** he was.
You know, I'm the last one to talk about how pale someone is. I mean, I get called Casper for a reason. But these two really need a little sun. The ladies buy into his nonsense and decide to help him out with his injuries. And there's just something about them. They kind of give off a weird vibe.
Don't tell me you didn't know we were worth $2 billion.
Vic regales them with tall tales and they just eat it up. Everything seems to be going swimmingly until the tow truck driver arrives and ruins the whole damn thing. But no worry, the ladies enjoyed their time with Vic so much that they actually invite him to come back. He brings the ladies flowers and talks architecture. He plays these two like a harp from hell.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I only wish there were 2 of them.
He somehow even manages to get both of them alone so he can continue with his little con game. Weirdly though, both sisters tell him that the other one has a dark side, which I'm sure will not come into play at any point. Now all Vic has to do is pop the question to one of the girls and half their wealth will be his. But that's the problem, only half. Luckily, Vic is not your average everyday con man.
As if there were... Pull me!
A twin brother?
Oh, Vic, you little rascal. He's gonna marry both sisters by pretending he has a twin brother. His plan is genius. He tells the ladies he has business dealings in South Africa with his brother, and one of them has to be present at all times. So every month, he and his brother just so happen to trade places. So Vic's going to have his brother meet the sisters when he gets into town, while Vic goes to South Africa. And since these two ladies barely even leave the house, how will they ever find out?
Whoa, ladies. Vic told me you were a couple of radical babes.
The two sisters marry Vic and Jack, and the plan could not be working better. Vic is loving his new life, relaxing swims in the pool, a little sunshine. How could it get any better? Well, it's about to get a lot worse because Vic got a little too much sun, except for one little spot on his back.
Except for this little pale strip.
You're kidding.
The two sisters are enjoying their new married life until they realize their husbands both have the same white strip on their back. To make things worse, they find Jack's ponytail while he's in the shower. So the truth has finally dawned on them. Although somehow when Jack comes out of the shower, he has his ponytail attached. Vic notices an open drawer that previously had been locked, so he does a little snooping.
Blair twins questioned the death of architect.
It seems the twins may have had a hand in their father's death, or at least were the prime suspects. Vic gets knocked out and is then tied to the bed. He begs and pleads for his wives to let him free, but he isn't going anywhere. The sisters did in fact kill their father. They couldn't stand having to share his love and decided the best thing to do was to kill him. The sisters split everything 50-50, and that means Vic as well, although this is really gonna smell. The episode is based off the comic of the same name found in the pages of Vault of Horror number 30. Written and drawn by Johnny Craig, the cover features a bus ride from hell as commuters find a torn arm hanging on for dear life. But where is the rest of the body? Ed King is a charming scumbag, bilking money from charities and orphanages alike. There's nothing he won't do to make a quick buck. He goes door to door looking for gullible people to take advantage of. However, this door is a little different. The women inside are recluses, hermits. However, they're very wealthy hermits. Ed figures there's no way he'll ever be able to get inside, but suddenly he hears a shriek from above. One of the Blair sisters is calling for her cat that's stuck in a tree. So like a firefighter, Ed climbs up the tree to help the poor woman out. Come here, you mangy cat, or I'll wring your neck. After 20 minutes of wrestling with the cat, sisters Amy and Susan decide to let Ed inside and care for his wounds. Ed takes this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to regale the sisters with tales of adventure and good deeds. Amy and Susan are so taken by Ed's heroic nature that they ask him to come back, and as time passes, the sisters both begin to fall in love with him. In his hotel room, Ed thinks over his situation. Surely he can marry one of them, but that only gives him half of their wealth. But what if he married both? The only way he could do that is if there were two of him. Twins! Ed concocts a plan where he has a twin brother. The two of them share a business in South Africa, but one of them must be present at all times. So the two trade off every month with the other coming home. He tells the sisters of his brother and their business, and the two ladies cannot wait to meet him. A few days pass and Alfonso, Ed's twin brother, arrives, and the ladies could not be happier. Now there will be one of them for both of them. Ed pretends to return from South Africa and proposes to Amy. The both of them are then immediately married. Susan is bummed because Alfonso hasn't proposed to her, but Amy assures her that Ed said he was going to. Meanwhile, Ed laughs away in his hotel room at just how gullible these two ladies are. The time comes and Alfonso proposes to Susan, and the two are also immediately wed. The sisters could not be happier. After a little tanning incident, Ed accidentally leaves a pale white spot on his back where his bathrobe had been blown onto him by the wind. When Alfonso returns, Susan notices the same pale spot, and when the sisters giggle over marital bliss, they both come to the realization that both of their husbands have the same pale spot. But it can't be true. They can't be the same person. The sisters decide to test their theory and place a tiny bit of peroxide on the back of his head while he sleeps, bleaching a small patch in the process. When Ed returns, the sisters notice the bleached spot, and their biggest fears are confirmed. He took such foul advantage of us. He must pay. Yes, he must pay. And he will pay. Blood drips down the axe. Ed is split right down the middle, and for the first time, Susan and Amy will both be able to spend the night with their husbands. Split personality is a fun Tales from the Crypt. Casting Joe Pesci was a great idea, and he's pretty damn funny throughout, though I really didn't need to see him thrusting in the air. The one thing I maybe would have changed would be making the twins look a little more normal. It's obvious they were done up to look a little unhinged, but I think if they looked more average, it wouldn't have been a dead giveaway that they were up to something. But I guess if you're going to be cooped up in a house for years on end without any sun, you're gonna look a little pale. The show follows the story pretty closely, only really taking Vic from going door to door like Ed and placing him in more high profile places like a casino. But they both pick on people in need of help, so in the end, they both got what was coming to them. Well, that's all for today, boils and ghouls, but what do you think of split personality? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you're having a good start to the week, and I'll see you next time with some more Tales from the Crypt.
Look for the split personality episode of Tales from the Crypt to air this summer on HBO.